There is a number that, in the American imagination, has basically become shorthand for "you made it." $100,000 a year. It is the number people say out loud at parties with a little extra confidence in their voice. It is the number every personal finance influencer dangles in front of you like the finish line. It is the number your relatives ask about at Thanksgiving when they want to know if you are doing okay. And here is the twist almost nobody tells you: crossing it does not actually feel like winning. For a huge number of people, the first reaction to finally hitting six figures is some version of, "Wait, why doesn't this feel like more money?" Here is the real data. As of 2025, only 23.1% of individual workers in America earn a six-figure income. So statistically, just crossing that line already puts you ahead of roughly 3 out of every 4 working people in the country. And yet, the lived experience of a lot of new six-figure earners is strangely underwhelming. Bigger paycheck, bigger taxes, bigger expectations, and somehow not that much more breathing room. Today, we are explaining exactly why $100,000 changes everything: your taxes, your psychology, your spending, your options, and why the changes are not always the ones you expect. Let's go. Welcome back, or welcome for the first time. This channel breaks down money topics without the jargon. If that is your thing, hit like and subscribe. Let's be clear, this video is not telling you that $100,000 is not a big deal. It absolutely is. It puts you ahead of the vast majority of American earners, and there is real reason to feel good about reaching it. What we are doing today is explaining the specific mechanics behind why it does not always feel as transformative as people expect, and what you can actually do to make sure it does transform your life, instead of just transforming your tax bracket. Let's start with the part everyone assumes they understand but usually does not: the tax bracket myth. Here is the conversation that happens at approximately every dinner table in America when someone is offered a raise that would push them past $100,000. The $100,000 tax bracket myth. It goes something like, if I take this raise, won't I get bumped into a higher tax bracket and actually take home less money? No. This is one of the most widespread money myths in the entire country, and today we are killing it for good. If you are a single filer earning $100,000, your top federal tax bracket is 22% for both 2025 and 2026. But here is the part people miss: that 22% does not apply to your entire $100,000. The United States uses something called a progressive tax system, where your income gets divided into chunks, and each chunk is taxed at a different rate, starting low and increasing as you go up. Think of it like a staircase, not a cliff. The first roughly $11,925 of your taxable income is taxed at just 10%. The next chunk, up to about $48,475, is taxed at 12%. Only the portion of your income above that, the part that actually falls into six-figure territory, gets taxed at 22%. Here is the number that surprises almost everyone. Even though your marginal tax bracket at $100,000 is 22%, your effective tax rate, meaning the real blended percentage of your total income that actually goes to federal taxes, typically lands around 11% to 15% once deductions are factored in. Your total federal tax bill on a $100,000 salary, after a modest 401k contribution and the standard deduction, commonly comes out to just over $11,000. So no, crossing $100,000 does not suddenly tax your whole salary at a higher rate. Nobody has ever taken home less money because of a raise. That myth has talked thousands of people out of promotions they absolutely should have taken. So if the tax bracket myth is false, why does $100,000 still feel like it disappears faster than people expect? Here is the honest maths. Start with your $100,000 gross salary. Subtract a reasonable 401k contribution, let's say 5% or $5,000. Subtract your share of health insurance premiums, a few $1,000s a year for most people. You are already down to roughly $92,000 before any tax bracket has even been applied. From there, subtract the standard deduction, $15,750 for a single filer in 2025. Now your actual taxable income is closer to $76,000. That is the number the tax brackets are actually working against. not the full $100,000 most people picture when they imagine their six-figure salary. After federal income tax, you still have FICA taxes for Social Security and Medicare, which take 7.65% off your paycheck, completely separate from income tax brackets. And depending on which state you live in, state income tax takes its own additional bite. Add it all up, and take-home pay on a $100,000 salary commonly lands somewhere around $70,000 to $78,000 a year, depending heavily on your state and your specific deductions. That is the number that actually shows up in your bank account across 12 months, not the big round number on your offer letter. This is exactly why $100,000 feels like less than people expect. It is not a myth or a trick. It is just several different, real systems, each taking their own separate bite before the money reaches you, and almost nobody explains the full chain before you experience it yourself. Here is where the story gets genuinely encouraging, because despite everything in the last section, $100,000 puts you in a position most Americans are not in. As of 2025, only 23.1% of individual workers in the United States earn a six-figure income. Median individual income in the country sits at $53,010. That means a $100,000 salary is nearly double the median individual earner in America. If you zoom out to where $100,000 sits on the broader income ladder, it lands around the 82nd percentile nationally. In plain terms, you outperform roughly 4 out of every 5 working Americans. That is not a small accomplishment. That is genuinely rare, even if it does not always feel that way while you are living inside your own paycheck. Here is a stat that puts it in even sharper focus. Just 3.62% of the entire American workforce earns $250,000 or more. Less than 1% earn $500,000 or more. The path from $100,000 upward gets dramatically narrower the further you go, which is part of why $100,000 specifically functions as such a meaningful psychological marker. It is the first major threshold where the room you are standing in starts to noticeably thin out. So why does it not always feel that way? Because of something we have talked about on this channel before, and it deserves a name here too: social comparison. You are not comparing yourself to the median American earning $53,010. You are comparing yourself to your coworkers, your college friends on social media, and the version of doing well you see online, many of whom are also clustered somewhere near or above that same six-figure mark, especially if you live in a major city. The room thins out nationally. It does not always feel like it thins out locally. Here is the part of this video that explains why so many six-figure earners report feeling exactly as financially stressed as they did at $60,000. It has a name: lifestyle inflation. And it is, without exaggeration, the single biggest reason high earners do not feel wealthy. Here is how it works. You get a raise that pushes you past $100,000. Almost immediately, often before the first paycheck even arrives, your spending starts to creep upward to match it. A nicer apartment, a better cars, more dinners out. Vacations that used to feel like splurges now feel routine. None of these decisions feel reckless in the moment. Each one feels like a reasonable reward for finally making it. The problem is that this creep is invisible while it is happening and only obvious in hindsight. The gap between your income and your spending, the gap where actual wealth gets built, quietly closes back up to roughly the same size it was before the raise. Your number went up. Your bank account did not. Financial researchers who study this exact pattern at the 75th income percentile, right around where $100,000 typically sits, describe it directly. The trap at this level is lifestyle inflation, where every raise gets absorbed by a nicer car, a bigger apartment, or more dining out. The gap between the 50th and 75th income percentile is often saved, not earned, meaning the people who actually build wealth at this level are not the ones who simply earn more. They are the ones who protect the gap between what they earn and what they spend. This is the single biggest difference between someone who hits $100,000 and feels richer, and someone who hits $100,000 and feels exactly the same as before. It is rarely about the income. It is almost always about what happens to the gap underneath it. Okay, so we have covered the myth and the trap. Now let's cover what genuinely, legitimately changes once you cross $100,000, because real things do change, and they are worth understanding clearly. You unlock meaningfully more room in tax-advantaged accounts. At lower incomes, maxing out a 401k or IRA can feel financially impossible because every dollar is needed elsewhere. At $100,000, fully funding these accounts becomes realistic for a lot of people for the first time, which means your money starts compounding inside accounts that either reduce your taxable income now or grow completely tax-free for the future. Your savings rate becomes the dominant factor in your financial trajectory. Below a certain income, your options are genuinely limited. You are working hard just to cover necessities. Above $100,000, for most people in most parts of the country, the gap between needs and income widens enough that your savings rate, not your income, becomes the thing actually determining your financial future. Two people earning $100,000 with wildly different savings rates will end up in dramatically different financial positions a decade later, even though their salaries were identical the whole time. You start to have real choices about risk and time. With more disposable income, you can genuinely consider things that were previously out of reach, investing more aggressively, taking a calculated career risk, starting a side business, or simply building a cushion that lets you make decisions from confidence instead of fear. This is one of the most underrated parts of crossing six figures. It is not just about the money itself, it is about the optionality the money creates. Tax optimization starts to matter more than just earning more. At higher incomes, the research is consistent. Tax optimization often matters more than earning more. Understanding your federal tax brackets and maximizing tax-advantaged accounts can save tens of thousands of dollars over time. Money that used to feel irrelevant to think about suddenly becomes one of the most impactful levers available to you. Here is a wrinkle that changes this entire conversation depending on where you live. $100,000 is not actually one number. It is a different number in every single state, once you account for taxes and cost of living. A $100,000 salary in a state with no income tax, Texas, Florida, Washington, and a handful of others, keeps noticeably more of that money in take-home pay compared to the exact same salary in a high-tax state like California or New York. At higher salary levels, this gap widens even further. At the $150,000 level, the same salary in Texas nets roughly $10,000 to $12,000 more per year than in California or New York, purely from the tax difference, before cost of living is even factored in. And cost of living changes the picture again. $100,000 in a major coastal city with high rent and high everyday expenses can feel tight. The exact same $100,000 in a mid-sized city with a lower cost of living can feel genuinely comfortable, sometimes even close to wealthy. This is why two people can both proudly say, "I make six figures," and be living completely different financial realities. The number on the offer letter is identical. The actual purchasing power behind it depends heavily on geography, something that almost never comes up in the simplified version of this conversation you see online. Let's make this practical. Here is how to make sure crossing $100,000 actually transforms your financial life, instead of just transforming your paycheck. 1. Capture the raise before your lifestyle does. The single most powerful move available the moment your income jumps is deciding, in advance, what percentage of any increase goes directly to savings and investing before your spending has a chance to expand into it. If you do nothing else from this video, do this one thing. When your income goes up, increase your savings rate by at least half of the increase automatically before you ever see the extra money in your checking account. 2. Max your tax-advantaged accounts first. At $100,000, fully or significantly funding a 401k and an IRA becomes realistic for many people for the first time. Every dollar contributed to a traditional 401k lowers your taxable income today. Every dollar in a Roth IRA grows completely tax-free for decades. This is the single highest leverage move available to a new six-figure earner, and it is exactly the move that the lifestyle inflation trap tends to quietly crowd out. 3. Track your savings rate, not just your income. Your income tells you what you earn. Your savings rate tells you what you keep, and your savings rate, not your salary, is what actually determines your wealth a decade from now. Two people earning identical six-figure salaries with different savings rates will be in completely different financial positions in 10 years, even though their paychecks look the same the entire time. 4. Understand your real take-home number, not your offer letter number. Budget around the $70,000 to $78,000 that actually lands in your account, not the $100,000 headline figure. This single adjustment prevents the paycheck shock that catches so many new six-figure earners off guard in their very first year at this level. 5. Recognize that optionality is the real prize. The most valuable thing about crossing $100,000 is not the number itself. It is the room it creates, the ability to invest more, take a calculated risk, build a cushion, or simply breathe a little easier. Protect that room. It is worth more than the number on your paycheck. To summarize, $100,000 is a real and meaningful milestone. It puts you ahead of roughly 4 out of 5 working Americans, and there is nothing wrong with feeling genuinely good about reaching it. But the tax bracket myth that scares people away from raises is false. Your marginal rate only applies to the income inside that bracket, not your entire salary. The real reason it does not feel as transformative as expected is rarely taxes. It is lifestyle inflation quietly absorbing the gap where real wealth building was supposed to happen. And the real opportunity at this level is not the income itself. It is the access to tax-advantaged accounts, the growing importance of your savings rate over your salary, and the optionality that more breathing room creates. The number on your offer letter was never the full story. What actually changes your life is the gap you protect between what you earn and what you spend, and what you do with that gap once you have it. If this finally explained why $100,000 felt different than you expected, hit the like button, subscribe for more no-jargon money breakdowns, and send this to someone who just crossed 6 figures and is wondering where all the money went. See you in the next one.